Okay, hello and welcome to, oh gosh, I don't even know what episode 12, 13 maybe, because of the extra bonus episode on Star Wars.
Something like that.
Yeah, we've had Christmas, and it's New Year's Eve now. How was your Christmas, Billy?
Very good, very good. Spent it with the family.
Nice.
We went away and stayed in a cottage/mansion combination. It was massive, or a bungalow.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good. And then obviously I've come up to sunny Wolverhampton.
Yeah, well, it was sunny yesterday. It was lovely,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
How
Thanks
was
for
yours?
asking, Billy.
I was going to say, how was yours?
It was all right. Mostly cricket-based presents. Cricket batting gloves and cricket keeping gloves. They were my main gifts. Eating a lot of cheese.
Yeah.
Awful lot of cheese. And that's been it mainly. I haven't drunk as much as I did last year.
No,
Not purposely, but just...
Well, seeing as we're on it, cricket-based presents, I've got you a present, Thomas.
Oh my gosh, Billy. I wasn't expecting this.
Oh, no, I know. Now, it's quite podcast-based as well.
Oh, okay.
Seeing as you haven't shut up about him all year.
Is it?
Here you are.
Oh, that's really cool. Thanks very much, Billy.
You might want to say what for the listeners.
It's Ben Stokes's. I think it's his autobiography. Isn't it?
I think it's his autobiography.
Oh wow.
I bought myself Billy Connolly's.
Oh, I've seen that in the car the other day.
Yeah, well, that was underneath it.
Oh, wow.
So I saw it and I thought, oh well, I'm sure Tom would enjoy reading this.
I will. If only I could read.
Yeah, you have to read first. So yeah.
Oh, well, thank you.
I apologise to all of your pupils because story time in your classroom is going to be very very entertaining.
I wonder if it starts with, and then I punched that chap in the Oh well, it's very kind of you, Billy.
No, you're welcome.
I feel terrible now that I didn't get you anything.
No, well, you let me stay in your home and
rent free.
So tell us what we're going to be doing for this podcast.
Well, I think you need to take the lead a little bit, Billy, because I haven't done any as usual. I haven't done any preparation, but so it's going to be more reflection on the year. This in 2019.
So the previous two podcasts, other than our Star Wars bonus episode, have been a review of the decade.
Yeah.
But we did those back in
the end of November.
End of November, was it? I
don't think a lot has happened.
Not a lot has happened since,
December.
but obviously we said we'd do the decade, and obviously there was a couple of things. I think the Joshua fight hadn't happened, and things like that in December. Not that there was much happened. So I've got a quiz from one of the newspapers. Which is going to help push us through each. So we'll look at each month and go over what happened each month and what we can remember about the stuff. And ask, rather than have the quiz at the end, I'll just ask a question. I haven't looked at the answers. He claims. Yeah, they're upside down. So I'll just pick, rather than go through all of the questions, I'll just pick one or two of the questions from each of the months. So I'll start off with... I'll start off with the question, I think, just because it'll be so, and it'll lead in because a couple of them. So, the two main stories that I'd wrote down before I found this quiz are actually in this quiz, if that makes sense. So, I'll lead with those two. So, question one on the quiz was, what will Leeds United fined £200,000 for by the EFL for?
Was that this year? The spying gate?
It was Leeds Spygate.
And Bielsa offered to pay all that himself.
Yeah.
£200,000.
So that was at the start of the year. So what? Obviously, you were in the Premier League now, and last in January you were. But what if you were down in the Championship? What would you have thought? Or what, if that's something that happened in the Premier League?
I mean, it happens anyway. Everybody spies on everybody, and there's so much footage that's available of every team. Maybe not training necessarily.
Yeah.
But Bielsa's done it everywhere he's gone. I think it was his brother-in-law or his son-in-law, something like that was doing it, and he just apologised that he'd got caught, basically.
Yeah, basically, he apologised that he got caught rather than apologise for doing it.
They all do it, and everybody's trying to gain that fractional advantage, and particularly in the Championship where any team can beat anybody. It is mad, really, and how...
Well, we were watching yesterday, weren't we, on Sky Sports, the Gary Neville off the script, and he was saying about in the next 10 years that it'll just be everything will be online. It'll just be the tactical, so like the free kicks and stuff like that, which fans can't see. So look like he's ahead of his time.
But I mean, I don't know what Derby's training ground is like, but apparently it was very open and anybody can walk up to it. And Wolves used to be like that. I don't think it is like it now, but you used to be able to just go and stand by the side of the pitch and watch Wolves train and go and get their autographs and stuff. And I've been to watch Wolves train a couple of times, not for a long time though, because now it's very closed off and very professional, whereas before you could just go up and whatever. But I remember then I went to watch the playoff game between Derby and Leeds at Pride Park, or the iPro, or whatever it is called now. But the second game of that, they were singing about Frank Lampard and Stop Crying Frank Lampard, because of course he was the Derby manager at the time. Yeah. But then the second leg of that playoff game was one of the most incredible games of football I've ever seen.
I was just looking because I remember seeing. I'm sure it was Leeds v Derby, but I can't remember if it was. I'm presuming it's that game, the playoff game, got voted game of the year or game. I don't think it was game of the decade, but
for the championship definitely. But there were a lot of comebacks.
Yeah.
In that little spell of the end of sort of mid-May with the playoffs and the Champions League semi-finals, because there was Liverpool came back from 4-0 down. Then the next night Spurs did it against Ajax. I think they were 3 goals down or needed 3 goals.
They were. It was. Liverpool had the whole game, whereas I think Spurs weren't 3-0 down. They went down 3-0 at half time or something like that because they had to. It was in that game sort of thing.
Yeah.
The other thing that I had written down, so this is the question again, was from which French club had Cardiff City signed the striker Emilio Sala? So obviously that story broke during the January.
We've as we're recording this, we've got Premier League years on, and it's 18-19.
Yeah.
So I know that was. In about February, I think it was, or certainly the end.
It was
the end of January. Actually.
So it happened. He went missing because he'd been signed in the January transfer window, and his body got found in February, start of February. Okay. Him and I wrote down. It was Dave Ibbotson was the pilot.
They never found him, did they?
I don't think they did. No.
I think. He was.
I don't know the answer. So I knew the answer to the Leeds one. I don't know the answer.
I think he was signed from Nantes. N-A-N.
T-E-S. Yeah, you're right. And it's yellow and green. So I'm not gonna. Unfortunately, I can't look at the answers until.
Oh, because you'll give.
Because that'll give away. So I think we are right.
It's either Nantes or Nancy.
Yeah, I think it's Nantes. N-A-N-T-E-S or N-A-N. Yeah. So yeah. So what I'll do is I'll write down. Our answers, so then I can check them. Okay. I think we are right with that one. Yeah. Anything else you can remember happening in January of no? Those are the 2 things that I wrote down.
Well, I will say about Salah, what a tragedy it was as well, because you have to think what might have happened with Cardiff had they have had a striker, because that was what they needed, and then it was a shame then for the rest of that season that there was a lot of legal.
Yeah, I was going to say because
that went on.
They could, as awful as it sounds, they couldn't go and then sign. They didn't. I don't think they would have.
20 million, I think they paid, and I think there was some dispute as to whether they paid that money and how much of it they had actually.
Yeah,
paid.
I think it was there to because it was a payment plan. Yeah. They had to pay. I think the first, maybe even the second. I think that was what, but that was only not recently, but it was much later on that got settled. Just looking. Other things, I don't think there was anything major. Pulisic signed for Chelsea.
Sorry, I thought you said major things.
That was on the second. I've got a list going down. That was on the second.
Wolves had an amazing game against Leicester. It has just come up on here.
Yeah,
we finished 4-3. Only the second time in Premier League history that consecutive fixtures have finished 4-3. So the previous time that Wolves played Leicester at home was back in 2003 in the Premier League, but finished 4-3. Having come from 3-0 down. Can you name the other fixture that finished 4-3 and then 4-3? I think it happened. It happened in consecutive years in this fixture, and they always show it on Sky Sports.
We've spoke about this recently. I can't for the life. I'm just going to say Chelsea against. Nah.
It was Liverpool Newcastle.
Oh yeah, because I think
Collymore scores the winners in one of the games.
Yeah.
One of them has an impact on the title race as well because Newcastle was going for. It must have been 96 and 97 because Newcastle were clear at the top of the table, and then I would love it if we beat them